Hello, I have a message today called It's a Very Good Moment. And starting with, it is thoughts that cause the feeling of hurt, not things. So feeling hurt, ego may come in and tempt me to find a cause for the hurt. It's something out there in the world, it's some condition that's hurting me. It's some deficiency or brokenness or illness of my body that's hurting me. It's some person or entity or social organization in the world that's hurting me. It's some lack or deficiency in myself that's hurting me. Ego finds someone or something in this world I made up, including the body I call my own, including the self I call my own, and every other thing that seems to be in this world I made. And ego says, this is the cause of your hurt. And here are my thoughts. And the actual cause of hurt, which is an experience I wanted to have, because I wanted to come into a world where it seems love, something not love, could be here. So when I experience hurt, I'm getting what I wanted, because I wanted to come into a world where it seems that something not love could be realistically here, and here it is. So keep it kind of within this closed loop of myself. I'm getting what I wanted, not in a punishing way. Nobody's saying this to me in a mean way. It's just me coming to the realization you're getting exactly what you wanted, and it's entirely reversible. It's really important not to blame the hurt on body, illness, disease, condition, on a person that seems to be not me, on me as a person being deficient, on a condition or thing or social entity or government in the world. It's really important not to blame my hurt on anything at all of the world. We don't want that cause and effect, because that keeps us clinging to the world we made. And now we're ready to surrender the world we made and allow its replacement. It's fine if I experience hurt, because there's a proper and appropriate response to that. It's not a problem to experience hurt that's just the result of what I intended when I came here. That's okay. That is not a problem to experience hurt. But now we're supplied with the proper and appropriate and calm and loving response to hurt. And part of that is the awareness that it is a thought that caused the believable experience of hurt. Even though that isn't real, hurt can never be real. It's certainly very believable. It's a powerful illusion. The mind of a child of God is not weak. The mind of a child of God is not powerless. The mind of a child of God makes a powerful illusion. But when the child of God decides to return home, then the child of God decides to surrender the illusion, understanding I can't get anything from this illusion. I already had everything. And I decided to ignore the beautiful everything I have with everyone and everything to give myself the experience of hurt. And it's perfectly okay, because there is a sane, proper, calm, loving response to the experience of hurt. And of course, I've gone over and over what this response is, right? But even if you're hearing me for the first time, probably that's you hearing you, because we're one. But probably the most important part of that is it is a thought that caused the powerful and believable experience, sensation of emotional hurt or physical hurt. Same thing. It's a thought, because that's what started this whole experience of this entire world of unreality. A thought. And that's it. That's the inciting factor. So we're not going to treat the elements of fantasy as if they have the power I have with you, that made, not created, distinguishing, making something as unreal, creating something as real. We are created as love, in love, by love, and we are love. And then I say I to take responsibility, made a world of illusion, and it's a powerful illusion. But there's an appropriate response to the experience I decided to give myself here. Okay, if you feel a disturbance, then you are able to respond to a disturbance. And just when you hear a vocal emphasis, it's actually for me. It's me receiving emphasis and being oriented toward the help that's here for me today. So truly, I don't need to convince you of anything. I'm receiving and speaking a message for myself, but it's shareable. So if you hear it and it's useful to you, then it is. But not here to convince anybody. Not here to gain the illusion of followers, because we're all one. We're all together. And probably the most important thing is that I look at you appropriately, properly, for lack of a better word that seems a little stiff, but with love. Whoever you are in my day, that's everyone. That's the most important thing. Not getting a reaction from you, or not trying to form an attachment with my false self, with your false self. Just being with you, giving thanks for you. And I don't have to know you as a body or a voice or personality to give thanks for you, because you're everywhere. You're very powerful, and you're everywhere, and you're innocent. That being said, if you want to reach out, go ahead, because all things work together for good. Okay, let's see. If you feel a disturbance, then you are able to respond to a disturbance. Yeah, that was what was really coming through. Put the emphasis and circle and underline and put the arrow toward response. So there's a response, and it's like a God-given gift. There's a response to everything. I'm just sitting in that. Learning how to let the fear of pausing go, so I can sit and soak in that. If there's a feeling of unrest, it's just exposed now. And it's a symptom. It's just a symptom that there's a thought that I still think is important. And if there's a thought that I still think is important, I am using that thought to hold on to and maintain a self that I could use to oppose you. There's my actual self, which cannot oppose anything, and that's your actual self. And there's the pretend self I made that I can use as a battle bot. I can react with my false self rather than respond. And so a feeling of unrest is just beep, beep, beep. There's a thought you're still holding on to that maintains the illusion of a self who could attack to defend you, this separate self, because my true self doesn't need any defense. Just in case you need it, keep it in your back pocket. And so when I find this thought, I can surrender it, and I can remember. What I'm focusing on today is, I think it's let me forget my brother's past today. It's all about seeing you with no past. Nothing to prop up your false self or mine. I can forget everything of the past. If something of the past is useful to me in our interaction, it will be supplied. But other than that, I don't have to be coming from a past. I can stay right here, right now, and let everything I need and everything you need and everything any other I perceive, anything they would need, come from the presence that is beautiful and loving and does supply and is right here, right now. So the more attention I can put on this presence, and it's a presence that everyone and everything shares, the better it feels, the more rooted and grounded in reality I feel. And then I'm not rushing off into a future and asking questions and trying to figure out and trying to make plans. I still make plans. But when the feeling of unrest becomes obvious enough, and it seems to become obvious to me at different layers, I seem to be traveling through these layers of clinging to thoughts that would maintain the illusion of my separate self and your separate self in an alliance, or my separate self and your separate self in opposition. They're the same thing. Really, myself and yourself are the same self. Okay. Unrest only gets uncovered so it can be addressed. Unrest addressed. Okay, so if I feel unrest today, of course I don't have to blame it on a particular thing, person, condition, event. None of that. If it just came to me in a flash, like 9/11, if you were alive then, and any emotions you remember feeling on that day. That was unrest getting uncovered so it could be addressed. I had no idea. I was in reaction, I was in reaction. And living in New York State, and I remember that period of time when you really didn't know what was happening or what would happen next, and feeling bewildered or feeling on edge, or feeling unreality. Well, that was a huge opportunity to feel like this is unreal. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So now from this perspective, I can see. So unrest gets uncovered so it can be addressed. And I must have gotten the message, because now here I am learning how to address it. So it's never anyone else's fault, and it's never your fault. Maybe it's the unrest of guilt. It's never your fault, because there is no fault. Fault is part of the powerful illusion I made. And you can say I made too, if you want to free everyone. It's part of the powerful illusion I made. It's very real to me. I've made it my reality, and I never should deny it, because this is the way out. I don't deny it, right? I can't deny it. I have to address it. But I can see that it is unreality, and I can see that there's this bigger reality, my true reality that I share with you, encompassing all of this, healing all of this. So if I experience unrest today, of course I need to find a cause, a thought, because I may have glossed over this thought many times before, or I may seem to have addressed this thought already many times before. But maybe today's the day. It's going to fade. It's going to fade. It's going to fade. It's going to fade. And I'll understand I'm safe. And I don't need this thought to have a me. And I don't need a you that seems to be different than I am. in order to be. I don't need opposites. I don't need opposition to love. I don't need to see and experience opposition to love. Something that would prove that being unloving or being unloved is possible. I don't need this to be myself. And so I can remember. Let me forget my brother's past today. We don't need it. Here we are. We're right now. And our shared being doesn't depend on a memory of the past. It just is. It's eternal. Nothing can change it. You only cover up unrest because you believe it will be in your own best interest. So there's still a tendency to build up and maintain my separate self just in case I need to fight, just in case I need to defend. What am I ready for? Defense. What am I ready for? Reaction. Just in case something goes wrong, I gotta be ready, right? I feel like I'm encountering this layer. So I get to look at it a lot and set the thoughts down. I did not encounter this layer before. The layers I encountered before, I worked through, and they no longer come to me to bother me. So now anything that remains, I can work on, I can address. And yes, everything I'm using to hold myself back can dissolve in an instant. So I keep that in mind too. I have experienced layers, and that's fine. But the whole thing could go in an instant, and that's also fine. I just reorient as much as I can, as often as I can. And I stay very aware of when I'm judging the other, because that's always maintaining the illusion of my separate self. Because look, over there's another, and that other is not like me. Okay. When you feel unrest, it is a very good moment. So if we train ourselves to see unrest as a wonderful opportunity, and we're fully capable of responding to this opportunity in and as love. Because we're love, we love so much. And if we become aware of unrest, or what seems like unrest over there, and we feel a corresponding unrest, it seems because of that unrest that we see over there. We're still feeling unrest, right? We're reacting. We can see it as a very good moment. If I declare that unrest is a symptom of an unawakened mind, then I might suppress it and pretend over it. And I can do this in some very spectacular and impressive ways. The ego has all the power I give it, right? And then I make myself appear different to that brother over there. And then I've fallen into the dream, into the nightmare, that I'm awake and my brother isn't. I've achieved something my brother hasn't. I don't do this alone. I do this with all of my divine siblings. We do this together. We don't leave anybody behind. So if I see unrest as a very good moment, then it's okay if it pops up in my experience. I welcome it. I respond appropriately to it. I'm honest about it. Then I don't have to try to push it down or cover it over. It's fine to be completely honest. And I had a moment like that this morning. Someone asked me to go somewhere, and I had this feeling that I really shouldn't leave where I am. So I just explained that. I have this feeling, and I know logically it seems probably okay that I could go, but for something seems to be stopping me. So I just said to that person, I'm going to go to work on my thoughts about this, because I was feeling unrest, lack of ease, dis-ease. Look at disease in the body, right? Notice how often we feel lack of ease. So I'm going to address it in my thoughts. I'm not going to force myself to go past that feeling and go with that person and do that thing. Instead, I'm going to see how interesting. Something really seemed to be stopping me. And I'm going to go find some thoughts that tell me why I shouldn't go. And so I did that. And so no one has to force anyone. In A Course in Miracles, it says, if your brother asks something outrageous of you, do it because it doesn't matter. And it is fun to find that spot where at first you're like, no, and then you're like, why not? And then you just do it. And of course it's fine, right? But then later on, it doesn't say it right then, but later on in the text it says, unless it would hurt either one of you, I think. Because if I believe so strongly that doing or not doing something is going to hurt me or someone else, then I see things because I believe them, and I believe them because I want to see them. So, I can feel when something's awry in my mind, and I have to respond to it at the mind level. So saying yes to someone, even if they seem to ask something outrageous of you, that doesn't mean forcing behavior. Sometimes we can check in lightly with ourselves and see, this doesn't really matter to me. Of course I can do it. No problem. But if I believe there's a problem, then let me go to work on where I believe there's a problem. Let me find that belief. Let me set it down. Let me reorient. Let me forget my brother's past today. Let me spend some time working there. And then when someone makes a request of me again, there should be ease there. If there isn't ease there, sometimes you can feel a little resistance, and then the resistance melts away so easily, and then you can just go with what they're asking so easily, because you question that resistance a little bit, and then, there you go, and you're happy. But if it doesn't feel like that, if it feels heavy, if it feels like a real block, then no force is needed. And it's okay to say no. It's a gift to say no. And finding that no that is the gift that gives you the time and space to look at what you believed, what you're thinking. In those moments where we're fearful, what we're thinking isn't true. It isn't. But it's true for us. And when we genuinely get over that, because we love ourselves enough to take the time to look at what we're believing, then we go easily with the one we call other when they ask something of us. So it's okay to give yourself that time to look at your thoughts. Okay, I think that's everything. Thank you. Hope that was helpful in some way.